And we're live. And welcome to another episode of Rankum. And as Stardrew just said in the comments, this wouldn't be take 3 if we started on time, which is really true. But we're here. We're talking. Us has come out just recently, so we're here talking about the top 12 horror movies from 2000 to now. Which, like as we're talking about, sort of off air, there really is a lot of sequels and. Not a lot, but it's going to be interesting to sort of see sort of what sort of refigures the top ones are there. But before I start that, I'm going to do what I'm starting to do now and go do what the fans voted as our top 5 movie villains from last week. And it's definitely very interesting, and there's a few really changes from what actually got on there. At number 5, the fans voted Anton Chigurh. At number 4, the fans voted Scar. At number 3, the fans voted Darth Vader, which was our number 12 from last week. So that was a big jump for the fans' votes.
Good.
At number 2 was T1000, and number 1 was Hans Gruber. So the fans really disagreed with our own list, but we just need to see what happens this anyway. But now time to introduce the panel. You saw him last week on the movie villains list. He's decided to come back again. It's Brian Michaels. Brian, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good. Had fun doing last week doing the villains. Got a lot of my picks on the list there. So I know you had an opening come up in today, so I thought I'd jump in and help out. And tonight, I don't expect to have near as much luck. I expect to be outvoted on everything I nominate and outvoted on the stuff I try to say no to. So we'll see how it goes.
And he was the first person that wanted on the list. As soon as I put it up, it's Russell. Russell, how's it going?
It's going good, man. Yeah, I enjoy horror films, and anytime I can get to talk about horror films and talk, just the love of the whole genre in general, I'm always down for it. So when you had that opening, I absolutely wanted to jump on that. So I'm glad to talk with these guys about what we think are the most influential movies from 2000 to present, man. It'll be interesting to see the list. A lot of different personalities and dynamics, so it'll be kind of fun to see what makes the list.
And also, you've probably seen him on one of our Take 3 Schmodown reactions once before, but I finally got him onto a ranking list, and it's Robert Adams. Robert, how's it going?
Pretty good. I was eager to do a horror movie list from our YouTube channel, Cinefanatics. Me and my brother. My brother's not so much a horror movie fan, so it's kind of hard to talk about horror movies with people who aren't horror movie fans. In fact, most of my friends are not horror movie fans, so it's nice to have other people who appreciate the bloody genre of horror to speak with.
And how the list works is we each do a roundtable discussion and nominate a movie we think deserves to be on the top 12 horror movies from 2000 to now. And because it's an even-numbered panel, the person who nominates the movie, their vote is not going to count. It's going to come down to the other 3 people on the panel for if it makes in.
Cool.
But which is bound to lead to a lot of heartbreak and all that. Every other time it's been a situation like this. But anyway, to kick it off, I'm going to go to Brian. Brian, what's the first movie you're going to bring up?
Okay. Well, I might as well start this discussion early, because when we're talking about the best horror movies of the last 18 years, you have to decide if we want to include straight horror only or horror subgenres. Because, just because something is a horror comedy doesn't mean it's not a horror, it's just a subgenre. So, we're going to test the waters right now, and I'm going to go with my favorite horror comedy, which is 2004's Shaun of the Dead from director Edgar Wright. I think that even though it is a comedy, I think it works as even a horror movie. It's got, tension, it's got stakes, it's got, blood and gore, of course, if people want that. But at the same time, it's got comedy, it's got heart, and it's got a great cast. It basically introduced the world to all these people like Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg and all them. So I thought I'd see what the rest of the panel thinks about Shaun of the Dead.
Russell, what do you say about Shaun of the Dead?
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, it's a good film. To me, I think it's more of a spoof horror, like how we were talking about Warm Bodies before, being like a dramatic romance type zombie film horror genre. I just can't see it as an actual true horror film. And I mean, we're doing horror movies from 2000 to present. I think there's a lot more movies on there that I think deserve the spot. But I mean, it's a no for me just because of that fact. I'm not taking anything away from the movie. The movie's excellent, and it was transcendental in its own right. With the introducing Edgar Wright as a great filmmaker, and obviously Simon Pegg and Nick Frost and those guys, they're very talented. To me, it's just one of those things. I can't put it on the list for a true horror film. Not knocking the pick down, but that's a no for me.
And Rob, what would you say?
I mean, I'm kind of torn. When I created my list, I came across this as well, and I absolutely love Shaun of the Dead. Like we said, it is kind of more of a horror spoof or even a zombie spoof, and it's fantastic. And I would say it's probably like one of the landmark horror comedy movies of all time. But yeah, I don't know. I think it still kind of lends more towards comedy. When people talk about Shaun of the Dead, you're not talking about, hey, how scary was that or anything. You're quoting the lines. You've got red on you. We're going to go to the Winchester and we're going to have a pint, or, well, this is Kool-Aid, but I mean, you quote all that. The part of them walking across the street trying to act like zombies so they don't get attacked by zombies. That's all funny stuff that people think of and reminisce about when you talk about that movie. Nothing as far as the actual horror of it. It pains me, and I understand why it's on your list, but I'm going to have to say no as well.
And with that, Shaun of the Dead doesn't make the list. I probably would have leaned towards yes myself, but I do understand why they're saying no, so I'll just scratch Warm Bodies off my list as well.
Fair enough. Now I know where the panel stands.
He's like, okay, we're not going there then, I guess.
But
Comedy rom-coms.
But I didn't have Warm Bodies on my list anyway. But anyway, Russell, it's back to you. What movie are you going to nominate?
Let's see here. I'm going to go with one that I think is going to make the list. It's from last year, and I think everybody knows pretty much the direction I'm going to go with this one. It's Hereditary, A24's film. To me, this is a film that really catapulted the horror genre, I think. The horror genre has really been on this resurgence in the last couple of years. It's been nice to see a lot more original ideas, and A24 is that type of studio that puts out good quality after good quality films. Hereditary was absolutely excellent. I thought Toni Collette should have absolutely been nominated for an Oscar for this film. She's excellent, in wrestling around with trying to keep the family together while still wrestling around with loss. And I just think the movie works. To me, it's one of those movies you hear the word of buzz and you're like, yeah, well, let's check this one out. And it lives up to it. I think it's one of those movies. Like, I was on the edge of my seat majority of the movie, and I enjoyed this film. And I think this really is going to be looked at later on down the road as a staple for the horror genre. So I am going to go ahead and nominate 2018's Hereditary.
I'm going to kick it off here and go, I didn't like it. I just thought, I actually thought it was boring, and I just didn't get scared in it. So I'm going to say no. Robert, what do you say about Hereditary?
So, Hereditary, I agree. I did not like Hereditary. But that's, I would say, my personal opinion on it is I'm not a huge fan of like just straight possession type movies. I do appreciate what Hereditary brought as far as the story it was trying to tell. It was a fantastic story. The little bits of twists that they had in there, especially with the little girl, Charlie, being so predominantly displayed in the trailer, and then what happens to her. Like, I would say it's very shocking, but at the same time, I'm just not a fan of the movie, but I understand why people are. I'm probably going to have to go ahead and say yes on it.
So, Brian, it's down to you. What do you say about Hereditary?
There are a lot of people who really love this movie, but unfortunately for Russell, I am not one of them.
Jeez, you guys suck.
Hey,
honestly,
I'm still voting for it, so.
Look,
It's gonna be a long
I
night,
already know
boys.
I'm in the minority opinion, but honestly, I thought Hereditary was one of the worst movies I saw last year. I
Okay.
mean, it was most of my theater was laughing at how unintentionally funny it was, and I just didn't enjoy it. And that's just, I mean, I know it's my opinion, and I know it has its fans, but I'm not one of them, so I got to say no.
So Robert, are you going to be the first one to get something on the list?
Let me see. I'm probably gonna go with. I guess I want to call this like a safe one because I think almost everyone who appreciates horror, whether it's mainstream horror or not as popular horror, all seem to love this movie, and I don't see that there's really anything wrong with it. And that's going to be Trick or Treat. Was it a horror anthology?
Yeah.
Came out. Fantastic movie. Just the anthologies. It was definitely a nod back to like say Creep Show and stuff. It had good stories. It was nicely connected the way it was told. I can't find really any faults in it.
But yeah, okay, so Trick or Treat is on the table. Brian, what do you say about Trick or Treat?
Trick or Treat was actually one of the ones I was deciding if I was going to go with next. I really enjoyed Trick or Treat. I mean, the horror anthology has always been kind of a staple, and this is one of the best ones. It's been done in a long time. I thought I thought the individual stories were well. I thought the way they weaved together was done real well. It's the first movie I think directed by the director Michael Dougherty, and he did a great job. And it's fun. I mean, there's an example of one that has fun and comedy to it, but it still really is a straight horror movie. So I'm going to say yes to Trick or Treat.
Russell, what do you say about Trick or Treat?
You know what? This is going to be a long night, guys. Honest to God, when I saw this movie, I honestly did not like it. I did not care for it at all. It was I can understand why you guys nominated it for sure. To me, it was one of those things. Upon watching it, though, it just didn't resonate with me. I didn't take anything back from it. I remember buying it because I had heard all this like great word of mouth about it, and I just didn't do good for me. So I got to shoot this one down. I got to say no on this one.
Yeah, sadly, I've just not seen it. So,
It's gonna be a long night.
I'm going to try my luck with this one. I'm going to go for one that came out in the same year as Shaun of the Dead, and I think I'm going with the first Saw movie. This is one that did a very different spin in horror, and just sort of had most of the action take place in this one room, while there's flashbacks to their life sort of outside of this and showed sort of how they got there. But this is like, some people may say Saw is not a horror, it's more torture porn, but I do think it is horror. I do think it is good enough to be on this list. I don't know if we'll get high on the list, but it's good enough. But Brian, what do you say about Saw?
Be quiet, though, okay?
I don't dislike Saw. I don't know if I like it enough to put it in the top 12 though. It seemed like a movie that tried to be Seven and Final Destination at the same time. You know, they wanted all these clever ways for people to kill themselves or whatever, or die, but at the same time they wanted to have this deep story where people are being punished for their sins and things. And I don't know. I didn't think it was all that great. I mean, I know it's had a lot of influence in terms of the kind of direction horror took since then, and of course its own 12,000 sequels, whatever they were. But I can't put it in top 12. I gotta say no.
Russell, what do you say about Saw?
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and vote yeah on this one. When James Wan did this film, I remember seeing it and I remember not liking it. And then I got it on DVD when it came out, and I remember rewatching it and just really appreciating it for what it was. I know it was kind of like disappointed again, you know what I mean? And as my daughter's peeking over, she has not seen Saw, by the way.
I thought it was a ghost or something.
Nah, yeah, we're setting the mood right here. But yeah, it was one of those ones in the early 2000s when, you know, the horror genre in itself needed a film to actually kind of like really put its foot forward and really help span what the next 15 years were going to be like. And I really think Saw did that. in its own right. Yes, it spawned a lot of sequels, but I think it took that type of torture porn, like you guys, calling it, and I thought it was original in its own right, though, and I think Juan did a great job directing this film. I enjoyed it, so yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with yes for 2004 Saw.
Robert, what do you say about Saw?
So yeah, Saw basically revolutionized like torture porn. We got other movies like Hostel because of it. Was it The Collector, Collection, Cube? All of these, I believe, kind of spun off of the idea of what Saw was. I am a fan of the Saw franchise. Granted, none of the sequels, except for maybe the second one, kind of lived up to the first one. But the first one had a great story. It was a great premise. At the time it came out, it was refreshing on its own. Great twist ending, however convoluted it might possibly be. I'm going to actually vote yes for Saw because I'm a sucker for the franchise. It is a guilty pleasure. Saw was a good movie.
And we've finally got one on the board, guys.
It's Saw.
Nice. Saw was the one that sawed its way through the list.
But anyway, Brian, it's back to you. What is the next movie you're going to bring up?
Okay, the next movie for them to shoot down. I'm going to go. I want something else that did something a little bit original, and I'm going to go with one from 2011, Drew Goddard's Cabin in the Woods. Because I think that movie it took what everyone thought was just your typical, straight horror movie, cabin in the woods kind of thing, and it really just, especially halfway through, it just twisted on its head. It takes a complete left turn. It goes completely meta. It's taking all of your expectations of horror movies and turning them on their head. And then it was a lot of fun. But again, while there was fun in this, there was comedic elements. It's still a horror movie, and I mean, it has every single horror villain in there you could want, all in one movie, and it was scary and it was bloody and it was a good time. I will go with Cabin in the Woods.
Russell, what do you say about Cabin in the Woods?
Man. Oh boy, I just rewatched this too. Yeah, I mean, yeah, sure, why not? I mean, I do understand the taking of this film. To me, it was one of these ones where it did kind of like, it was original in its own right. Drew Goddard did do something a little bit different with the genre. Though I more or less, I mean, it's still a horror film. I use it loosely because I don't know. Yeah, I'll say yeah on this one. I'll go ahead and I'll give it a green light.
Robert, what do you say about Cabin in the Woods?
I actually thought it was really good. I seem to be a sucker for these movies that have been like in development hell for a while, and then they finally came out, and they were actually good the whole time. Between Cabin in the Woods and Trick or Treat, were both like that. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with yes on Cabin in the Woods. It is a fun film. It does add a little bit of something new to the horror genre. I think they did a good job with it, especially seeing Thor splat up against that wall. That was awesome. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and vote yes.
Yeah, and sadly, I just haven't seen it, but with 2 yeses, it still makes the lists. And it's back to Russell. Russell, what's the next movie going to bring up?
I am going to go. 2002 saw a shift of not really a shift, but main stay for Hollywood films getting their ideas from Japanese films. So when you have a director that was associated obviously with the first Pirates of the Caribbean, I'm talking about Gore Verbinski. You're a little bit hesitant. You're like, I don't know how well this is going to do. But to me, when I went and saw this movie, I was genuinely scared. And I'm talking about 2002's The Ring. To me, it's one of those films where, I think that this movie is so synonymous with Samara and the long hair and the white coming out of the well and the creepy, her creepy movements and stuff like that. The second one was not that great, and Rings was absolutely awful. But for me, the first one I really enjoyed, and it was scary, and it was nice to see a movie actually do that again, because it had been, I would say since Scream, where I was legit kind of scared during a film. So I want to go ahead and put Gore Verbinski's The Ring on there, 2002.
That's a That's going to be a yes for me. I really do like The Ring. The sequels just weren't that good. The second one was watchable. The third one with Johnny Galecki, the plane, and all that stuff was terrible. But yeah, Robert, what do you say about The Ring?
So I saw The Ring in the theaters, and I fell asleep while watching it. Maybe I was just tired. I don't know, but I do remember going back and watching it again, giving it a shot. I don't remember it being that good, in my opinion, as far as like a gripping story, even though I know the story and I think it is actually a gripping story. It just didn't play out that way. I'm probably going to go ahead and vote no, but it's a very small no, could be lingering to yes, because I just probably need to watch it again just to appreciate it more.
Yeah.
But I'm just not a huge fan.
It's down to Brian. Brian, what do you give The Ring?
The Ring was not on my list, but it's one of those I just put right on the borderline because, like, you know, I enjoyed it. I would not put it in my top 12, but I would not have any objection to it being on there. It's kind of, and I can respect it for what it is. And like you said, it kind of started bringing the Japanese or Korean and all those Asian horror movies over here. I'm gonna go ahead and say yes on it.
And the Ring makes the list, and it's back to Robert for his next pick.
Let's see. I'm gonna go with my next one. I'm gonna probably go with the 2013 remake, reboot, sequel, whatever you want to call it, of Evil Dead. It was a very well done, even though me personally, Evil Dead is right up there, like in my top 2 or 3 favorite horror movies of all time. I don't think it's a movie that really should have been touched. Like, you don't try to remake Gone with the Wind. I didn't think you should try to do that with Evil Dead as well, but was that Fede Alvarez? He remade that, or he did a movie with it, complete without Ash, Bruce Campbell involved, except for the little bit at the end, and it was a good movie. I felt it was still in the same vein as the previous Evil Dead, Army of Darkness movie, and I very much enjoyed it. The loose ties to the original ones were fantastic. The acting was great. The effects, they went back and pretty much switched to all practical effects again, getting away from a lot of digital effects, which made the original Evil Dead stand out. I think it was fantastic, and it proves that you could do a remake or a sequel to an old classic horror movie, and you can do it right to where people are going to love it also.
Yeah, this is the only Evil Dead movie I've just not seen. But so it's down to Russell and Brian. Russell, what do you say to Evil Dead?
I remember seeing the first Evil Dead, the original. And I don't know. I guess it's because it aged poorly, I think, in my book. It's just one of those ones. And kind of how, he was saying about, you don't really touch classics, but it's nice to modernize it. And I think that's the importance of some of these remakes. Yes, they may not be the greatest, and they may not be true to form, but they're breathing new life in it, modernizing a film. You know what I mean? And that's the whole idea of why they remake these films, to make them more mainstream, to get people to watch the old stuff too. But I did enjoy it. It was one of the few remakes that I do have like on the list. So I will go ahead and give it a green light. I did enjoy it. I did enjoy it more than seeing the original. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll give it a yeah.
And Brian, what do you say about Evil Dead?
I was kind of almost in the same place as I was with The Ring, but I was a little more enthusiastic about Evil Dead because again, I wouldn't put it in my top 12 of the past 2 decades or whatever it is, but it was a good movie, and like you said, I like that they did a lot of practical effects. I thought it was a very effective horror movie. I believe this again was the first feature directed by Fede Alvarez, which seems to be a staple of the horror genre. I mean, a lot of first-time directors. You got Drew Goddard, you got James Wan, all these people, and so I probably would have leaned towards yes.
And with that, Evil Dead makes the list. And it's back to me. I'm going to go with another one of my favorites, and this is from very early on in the 2000s. But I'm going to go with Final Destination. This was just on 2000 when it came out. This is one that I watched. It's like I didn't know what to expect, sort of going in, but when I watched, it's like the fact that the villain wasn't really a tangible thing, and it was just sort of this whole death being the actual villain was intriguing. The sequel, like, it kind of had a shaky run at the franchise went on, but the sequels were really uneven. But the first one, I think, is probably the best out of the franchise. But go to Brian. Brian, what do you say about the Final Destination?
You know, I actually forgot Final Destination was eligible because I didn't realize it was at 2000. You know, I think I'm going to vote yes on this because, I mean, Final Destination came out kind of in that post-Scream era when there was a lot of knockoffs with just like this group of young teens. But it like you said, it took and made, it wasn't like some killer. It was death itself was the villain, was the danger. And it was very creative. You know, it's fun. It put a new spin on the genre. I thought it was well done. Like I said, the sequels, see, I enjoy all the sequels to different extents, but, you know, later on, it's more of a guilty pleasure, especially when they got into the 3D and things like that. I enjoy them, a lot of fun. But the first one was actually a well-made movie, and I like it, so I'm going to give it a yes.
Russell, what do you say about Final Destination?
Yeah, kind of to echo what Brian was talking about. When you had you obviously had Scream in its own right, and, you know, obviously coming out in 95, and then you kind of have that, or 96, kind of have that ride the wave into, you know, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and 97, and all the other stuff, the spinoffs and stuff like that. Final Destination was revolutionary in its own way because it was original. I thought it was different. Yes, the killer wasn't tangible. He wasn't a tangible thing, or, you know, a person. It was you know, fate. It was death. It was like, you know, death has a plan for all of us. And I love the unique ways that it weaves, you know, like a puzzle piece to try to solve out like who was next and who was going to meet their demise and stuff like that. And I thought it was original. I enjoyed it. And they are guilty pleasures. Even as bad as some of them got, like the third one with the roller coaster and other films like that, they still were fun. And so for me, yes, 2000 Final Destination absolutely got to make the list because I really enjoyed the film.
And with that, Final Destination does make the list. Robert, what would you have said?
Yes. Much like the first Saw, I think it created its own like kind of genre, and it was the sequels that kind of led more into like, let's amp up the blood and gore and guts. And yeah, Final Destination was a fun movie, great premise, great idea. Yep, I would have voted for it.
Anyway, it's back to Brian. Brian, what's the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'm going to get shot down on some of these. I'm going to push the boundaries a little bit again and kind of test the panel here. One of, I think, the best horror movies that came out was also told as a musical, and that is Sweeney Todd, Tim Burton's Sweeney Todd from 2007. I mean, it is a horror movie. There's no doubt about it. The fact that it's told through song does not make it any less of a horror movie. And I thought visually it was impressive. I thought the acting was great. Of course, the music was great. And Tim Burton obviously knows how to handle this kind of dark gothic tale. And it was bloody. You had Alan Rickman and Johnny Depp all doing a great job. And so I'm going to put that out and see what the rest of the panel thinks.
Honestly, I completely forgot all about Sweeney Todd. And it's definitely one of my favorite musicals, so I'm going to say yes. Robert, what do you say about Sweeney Todd?
So it was funny. Like, I created my list earlier, and right before this started, I was going back and double checking everything. I was like, I forgot to put Sweeney Todd on there. If anyone has followed me and my brother's Schmodown reactions, one of my favorite genres is also musicals. So horror and musical, Sweeney Todd, I'm game for it. I love it. It was great. A lot of fun. Yes, absolutely yes.
And with that, Sweeney Todd makes the list. Russell, what would you have said?
I would have said no. That movie to me was not. I don't know. I just did not enjoy it. I thought it was boring. It was one of Burton's, like one of his worst films. Not like bottom. Like I'm not talking Planet of the Apes, but like I did not like it. I just wasn't a fan. It just didn't. Maybe I'll have to revisit it. But when I saw it when it came out, I was not a fan of it. So I would have said no, but it does not matter.
But anyway, we're halfway through the list. We've already got 6 there. Russell, can you continue?
I like to think I can get this one on the list. 2014 was a year that we saw this film. And again, I'm going another original idea, something different. And I'm talking about what happens when it's really, when there's the killer is transmitted sexually. I'm going to go with 2014. It Follows. To me, it was one of these films where it was beautifully shot. The idea was the premise of it was so original. And that's really, I think the beginning, call me crazy, but I think 2014 really, this It Follows really kind of helped change a little bit of the horror genre to me. Because when you see where horror films went in 2015 and on, I think it really had a lot more original ideas. So for me, I will go ahead and nominate the 2014 film It Follows. I really enjoy that film.
Yeah, I'm going to start off from this. And, I've watched some of It Follows. I can't say I really enjoyed it that much, so I'm probably going to have to say no, but I do kind of see why people like it at the same time. But anyway, Robert, what do you say about It Follows?
I also really like the idea of it. The fact that the killer was kind of like Final Destination. You didn't see essentially the killer except for like the random ghost people that popped up and followed whoever had just recently gotten laid, apparently, according to the story. I mean, it is definitely it definitely makes you want to start using condoms for certain. Yeah, I would probably have to say yes for It Follows. It was such an original idea, and it played off of it very well. Yeah, I would say yes.
It's down to you, Brian. What do you say about It Follows?
It Follows, like Russell said it best, that kind of about the time It Follows hit. There was a couple other films that hit about the same time, but it really it ushered horror into its kind of new direction, and the film's kind of gotten a changed since then. This one is one that was on the edge for me of making like my list of ones I was going to pitch. I did not end up deciding to pitch it, but I will absolutely vote yes for it since somebody brought it up.
And
so that's 7 in a row we got.
Nice. Good.
But it's back to Robert. Robert, what do you want to bring up next?
There's a couple of them I really want to touch upon, and we're like 7 in so far. I'll probably go ahead and just throw out probably the big major one because it's the highest grossing horror movie of all time, I believe, ever since The Exorcist. I believe was the first one, the first highest grossing, and that'll be the remake of It. Was fantastically done. It's what really has pushed this renaissance with Stephen King remake movies. It was terrifying. It was horrifying. It was a lot more like the book than what the made-for-TV movie was allowed to do back in the early 90s. Short of the child orgy, which we're all glad that was not in there. But it did a fantastic job. It was a scary movie, even for those who really don't get scared at horror movies. They did a good job. I can't wait for the next one to come out this year. I will say yes on it.
It looks like Russell was really good at predicting what Robert's going to come next because he did say it will follow. So
I was right. I'm like, call me
It follows,
Nostradamus, guys. Call me Nostradamus.
But
Malcolm was sitting there this whole time, ready to jump at that joke too. The second I stopped talking,
he's like, please nominate. He's like, please nominate it. Please nominate it. Please nominate it. Please nominate it. Yeah, I got nothing against the film. I don't know. I'm kind of with Brian on this. I feel like how what he says about it, like, you know, his picks. It wasn't a pick that I naturally put in the top 12. I mean, it was a good film. I enjoyed it. It was scary. And it was a lot better than that awful TV miniseries. It was just awful. Though Tim Curry was the silver lining in that, but to me it was just so stale. It was so boring. It wasn't scary. Again, of course, I watched it literally, I think the week that it was actually coming out because I had never seen it. And I kind of wanted just to see where we stood from that one because everybody always talks about Pennywise. So yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll throw out it as, yeah, Andy Muschietti did a great job directing this film. So I will go ahead and I'll greenlight it. Literally.
Yeah. But yeah, this one really surprised me. I didn't really know what to expect from this. I really do love the book, and this is one that, like, even though it sort of is fairly recent, I do think it does deserve to be on this list as well. It was really good, and it surprised a lot of people, and I think it did make my top 10 of that year, just barely. But it is going to make the list. Brian, what would you have said to it?
I would have voted yes on it. I didn't love it as much as a lot of other people did, because a lot of people like it's their favorite horror movie in years, and they're the best movie of the year. Some people were even saying, and I didn't think it was that good for me, but I enjoyed it, and it definitely, obviously, made an impact. So I'd vote yes on it.
But yeah, it's back to me. And I'm going to go for something that's even more recent than it. In fact, it came out this year. This is one that I went and that it completely surprised me, and it's definitely got a very Saw vibe to it. And that's Escape Room. This movie is one that has a lot of mixed reviews, and I know there's a lot of people out there that really don't like this movie. I loved it. I didn't know what to expect. I saw the trailer, I was like, this looks interesting. It has definitely got a Saw vibe to it, but I'll go and see what it's like. And I really enjoyed it. I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did, but it is a great movie. Brian, what do you say about Escape Room?
I did not like Escape Room as much as you did. And as a matter of fact, I would go so far as to say I didn't really like Escape Room. I thought that this, more than a lot of others, it was trying to do Saw, and it was trying to do a PG-13 Saw, so it could bring in, you know, more money and more audience. But I really, there were so many plot holes and conveniences and things I didn't enjoy. It just seemed like somebody just like cookie cutter tried to throw together something to make a horror movie and make some money based on things that came before it. I didn't hate the movie, but I didn't like it, so I have to vote no.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Russell, what do you say about Escape Room?
Well, yeah, I mean, I appreciate you nominating that film. I mean, it was a good film up until 3/4 through the film. I hate the back end of the film fell apart for me. Just the whole entire, you know, and I guess this is a spoiler. Just the whole idea of, yeah, if you haven't seen it yet, just, you know, plug your ears for a second. But like, to me, it was one of those things where I think the twist, like, you know, that the sequel's coming, they forced the sequel to come out at the end. To me, was just so far-fetched. Yeah. I didn't like that. Yeah. I felt like that was kind of put in there deliberately, and I didn't like the way they went with that. And kind of how we said, if we're going to go ahead and take a movie that's already done it, Saw's already done it and done it better. So it didn't have to borrow from anything. You know what I mean? So unfortunately, Escape Room for me, no. I did appreciate the film for what it was. I did enjoy it. Like I said, the last quarter of the film just really kind of lost me. So I'm going to go give it a no.
But yeah, what would you have said about Escape Room?
Like I said, I haven't seen it yet. Based off the trailer, I mean, the trailer made it look like it was definitely influenced by Saw. Looked like it was kind of a combination of Cube and The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, with like the fantasy elements in it. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I'm curious of it. I want to see it. I did mute the computer when he was talking, so I have no idea what he said. But
Good.
yeah, since I haven't seen it, I'd probably have to say no.
Yeah. Anyway, it's back to Brian, and the streak is broken.
Oh, broke the streak. Okay. Well, you know what? I'm going to keep going outside the box and let these guys take care of the conventional stuff. All right. So horror, not just for adults. And I think one of not only the best horror movies of the last couple decades, but a good like gateway horror movie for kids is Paranorman. I mean, you're going to think of it as a kids movie. You're not going to think of it as a horror movie, but it really is. I mean, it is a straight horror movie with a straight horror story, but it's accessible to kids. It's very well done. Leica Entertainment, not only with their animation that's beautiful, but their story is excellently done. And I mean, the way it tells the ghost stories, the way it has, he talks to the zombies and sees the other creatures, and it's just very well done. Like I said, it's a great gateway because it's kids that can't watch scary movies, but they get interested in this genre. And you can tell that the love that these filmmakers had for the genre, and it kind of introduces kids to genre so they can kind of ease into that. And I loved it, so I'm going to say Paranorman. It's a little outside the box, but we'll see what they say.
Russell, what do you say about Paranorman?
I appreciate Brian's he's trying to he's thinking outside the box. I appreciate that. If I were gonna nominate animated film, I would go Coraline over that one because I think Coraline was better done. That's just my opinion, and I think it tiptoes the line of animate scary and not, you know what I mean? For me, more so than Paranorman. I get it for kid friendly. Coraline's still kind of kid friendly. I mean, a little bit, not well. Yeah, it tiptoes. It tiptoes is what I'm trying to say. But to me, I just don't think. Yeah, it's I can't put it on. I do like the film.
Had to give it a shot.
I can't put it. I just can't put it on. Like I said, if I were gonna put one on, I'd put Coraline on. Yeah.
Robert, what do you say about Paranorman?
Never seen it. Don't know anything about it, so.
Yeah, I've also never seen Paranorman. I've seen the trailer. That's probably as much as far as I can go. But Russell, it's back to you.
God, I want to get some of these movies on here, man. I really do. All right, yeah, I'm gonna go 2005. Yeah, we'll try this one. When you have a group of friends doing cave expedition, cave diving, and stuff like that, I think to me it really is a type of film that I go back to a lot. I'm talking about The Descent. It's one of those movies where you feel claustrophobic with them, with a group of girls that go splunking. I really enjoyed it. It was something different. Again, different at the time. It was something that, it wasn't like the torture porn that we started to see when Saw came out. You know what I mean? It was something a little bit different. I think this movie obviously was in production, I think, before Saw came out, and that's maybe why it's something different. But to me, I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed this film. It's something I go back to every Halloween. So I'm going to go ahead and put 2005 The Descent on there, hoping it makes it.
Yeah, I've just not seen The Descent. I've just not got around to it. But Brian, what do you say about The Descent?
The Descent got a lot of attention when it came out. I heard so much about this film and how great it was, and so I had to track it down and watch it. And once I saw it, I wondered if I had seen the right film, because I did not see why it was getting so much praise. I mean, again, I didn't sit there and hate it like it was an awful film, but I didn't understand what the big deal was. So I can't, as much as it might be an all right film, I can't put it in top 12.
Robert, what would you have said about The Descent?
So this one, the thing I hate about The Descent is I am a huge horror movie lover. I absolutely love horror movies, and when I hear good word of mouth about them, I immediately want to see it and start dissecting it. I have not seen The Descent, and I feel like I lose some horror movie thread with that I haven't seen it. I want to see it badly, and now that it's been nominated on here, even more so. But I haven't seen it. It looks good. I'm very interested in it. But I can't give an opinion about it.
And it still holds up is the thing too. I mean, the rewatchability is still high.
But anyway, Robert, it's back to you for your next pick.
So I'm going to go with one that I believe is actually probably kind of cheating because it's actually not one, it's actually two movies. And that's going to be 2007's Grindhouse, the Robert Rodriguez, Quentin Tarantino mashup, which I saw it in the theater as the one movie, and I thought it was fantastic. Then they split it up for home video release between Planet Terror and Death Proof. And I don't think the individual movies themselves were as good as the movie put together with the fake trailers in between. And I think that's because both Rodriguez and Tarantino were actually teaming up and partnering to create the idea of it being a double feature, much like the old movies that you would go to see. And without that pairing, the whole movie, the ideas just kind of lose a little bit of their pizzazz. So it has to be both the movies together as Grindhouse. It was fantastic. It was a lot of fun in the theater. The fake trailers, everything. It was just a great overall package and a great horror movie.
Yeah, like I did see it as the combined package when it came out, because they put it on at limit as a very limited thing, and I do like it. I'm going to go say yes to Grindhouse. Like I appreciate you say that it's slightly cheating, but I actually don't think it is because it was released as one movie, but then it was also released as two separate movies, so you can go either way with those ones. So. But Russell, what do you say about Grindhouse?
I do appreciate the nomination. To me, I don't know. I just don't come back to it as often. I guess I don't really consider it horror. I don't know. That's just me. It's more action because, you have Rose McGowan with the machine gun leg and stuff like that. I don't know, and I love the trailers. Like Don't, I absolutely love. Like Don't, and I remember that's how we got Machete, I believe, too.
Yes.
To me, it's one of those ones. I did enjoy both of, you know which one's Tarantino's, i.e. Long foot shots, and you know which one's Rodriguez's. But to me, I can't put it on there just because of the fact there's a couple that I feel that just deserve the list a little bit more. I have nothing against the films. I really do enjoy them, but I just don't see them as horror films. So I'm going to go no on that.
And Brian, what do you say about Grindhouse?
So I have a problem that I Death Proof doesn't even feel like a horror movie to me. I know there's a guy who's killing and stuff. It doesn't feel that half doesn't even feel like horror to me. And as a whole, I don't know. I think that Rodriguez and Tarantino were too caught up in this cool gimmick they thought of, like, ooh, let's make it look like the old movies with trailers. We'll have the print look all scratched up and break and scenes missing and stuff. And it was just, I know they love old movies, but it didn't work for me, and especially didn't work as a horror movie. So I got to vote no on that one.
That's fair. It's back to me, and I'm going to take a page out of Brian's book and go slightly out of the box here. I'm going to go for the first Goosebumps movie. This is definitely a movie which is it is a kids movie, but it has got enough scares in it to still be scary enough as well. It's like a lot of kids have followed the Goosebumps books when we were younger, and they definitely know the characters that pop up. But yeah, I do think Goosebumps is unique enough to belong on this list. I'm going to go to Brian. Brian, what do you say about Goosebumps?
Goosebumps. I don't know, it's fun for kids, but even more so that I think, like I said, like when I was pitching Paranorman, I think that one was kind of a straight horror, but that would appeal to kids. And I think Goosebumps was more of a kids movie that happens to have some horror aspects to it. For sure. And I thought it was okay, but I'm going to have to say no on the Goosebumps. Sorry.
Russell, what do you say about Goosebumps?
I love your enthusiasm for Goosebumps. I really do, but I really do because I was on the panel for Goosebumps. They're guilty pleasures as being, for being a kid and stuff like that. But that being said, like, to me, again, we're talking 2000 to present top 12 horror movies. I mean, it's not in that genre for me. I think of that more as a family film, more like family, with a little bit of spooks sprinkled in there. Like, again, like how Brian was saying, Paranormal or Coraline, which I think is more darker than, I think Coraline's a lot more darker than Goosebumps. To me, I love Goosebumps, but I got to shoot that down. I guess I know.
Yeah. Robert, what would you have said about Goosebumps?
Loved the Goosebumps books when I was a kid. Night of the Living Dummy is a fantastic story. Started watching the Goosebumps movie and ended up turning it off halfway through. Whether I can't remember if it was just boring or I just found something better to do. I can't vote yes for it. That would have to be no.
But that's fair. Anyway, it's back to Brian.
Okay, so after 8 yeses in a row, we have had 5 no's.
What a panel! What a panel! What a show!
Right. Well, I'm torn because I have like one that's really mainstream that might have a good chance of making it, and then I have some that I don't even know if people here have seen, much less would vote for. So I'm not quite sure where to go with it.
Go ahead, but throw it out there.
I think I am. I will skip the mainstream one for now. I want to test the waters just to see what this panel's at. There are a lot of foreign horror films that are great.
I know where we're going.
Yep.
I have a good 3 or 4 on my list that I kind of want to nominate.
2006.
I'm gonna push one out first. First I'm gonna go with one from actually 2016.
Okay, never mind.
Called
where I was at.
Train to Busan, which is a zombie movie, and it is really kind of unlike any other zombie movie I've seen. I mean, this thing is it's kinetic, it's action packed, but it's straight horror film. It's got good characters, good emotion. I mean, you really start feeling people when people die. It's not just like some throwaway person dying. And I don't know how many other people here have seen it or if you would even vote for it, but I want to put that out there and see what people think. Train to Busan.
Russell, what do you say about Train to Busan?
The Russian has been cut because that's the first one I have not seen. I never even heard of it. So to me, I can't
check it out, definitely.
Based upon that, absolutely will check it out. I have not seen that film. Again, it's I've seen a lot of films, and it was but it's just one I can't vote on, so because I haven't seen. So yeah.
Robert, what do you say about Train to Busan?
What I have to say is going to sound a lot like an echo because this movie's only just recently popped up on my radar within the past couple of months or so. And I still haven't been able to get around to seeing it, but I've seen the trailer for it. It looks awesome. I heard the cinematography on it is fantastic. I'm eager to watch that right there with The Descent as soon as I can find an entire day to crank out the movies that I should have seen, which luckily won't be a whole day, but yes, I haven't seen it either. So yeah, I'm gonna have to say no on it.
Yeah, to continue the echo, I've also never seen it.
Look what I started, guys. I'm sorry.
Well, just for those of you that are at least for those of you that are in the U.S., it is on Netflix, so I recommend you all check it out.
Oh yeah, I got it on Netflix. Yeah.
But anyway, Russell, it's back to you. What's the next movie you're going to bring out?
God, I thought you were going 2006 when you said foreign film. I'm going to keep that one out. God, there's so many I want on this list. It's really starting to get to grind time. You know what? Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and go with this one. This one's a generic film, and it spawned awful sequels. But to me, it was an original idea to begin with, original-esque. And it was that, the reality found footage type films. I'm going to go with 2007's Paranormal Activity. The first one still, to me, is one of those films where it was scary. And it did in its own right start a different whole found footage stuff. Okay. I mean, you guys, call me crazy, but a lot of that found footage stuff, like i.e. Cloverfield 2008, Phoenix Forgotten's another one I have on my list, but I'm probably not going to throw it out there, but it was an excellent film too. The found footage started to become a little bit more popular because of this film. And I thought, to me, the first one was scary and it did play on it. Yes. The ones after that, they got progressively worse. So I'm going to go ahead and throw out 2007's Paranormal Activity. I did like this film, and it did in its right. Again, it was a very profitable film. and I think Spielberg was behind this. And I really enjoyed it, so I'm gonna go throw that one out. 07's Paranormal Activity is on the table.
Okay. Brian, I will go to you first. What do you say about Paranormal Activity?
I think Russell's gonna hate me after tonight. That's what I think. I absolutely hated Paranormal Activity,
God.
and I think it was influential, and I think it did create a whole new kind of genre in horror. But I don't think that was in a good way. It created a whole lot of really bad movies, and I can't vote for that. No, I'm sorry, Russell. I'm sorry.
You're good, man. No worries. I just need to get it out. There's somebody out there. I need at least. I gotta do what you're doing. I gotta at least try to fight for these guys.
Right.
Robert, what do you say about Paranormal Activity?
Well, at this point, we're just like either making friends or losing potential friends. I mean, it's what it sounds like. I'm probably gonna have to say no on it, but I definitely recognize what it was. I believe it was at the time one of the cheapest made horror films, and I think
profitable.
Yeah, it was like the most profit to how much it was spent on it. I believe that was Oren Peele's first movie, and it was I think it had like Steven Spielberg's backing on it.
Yeah, I produced or whatever.
Yeah, I remember it being very creepy, especially when like everything's quiet, they're laying in bed, and all of a sudden the whole house and the theater that you're watching the movie in shakes. The chandelier is like violently going back and forth. It was so creepy. But I think there's a lot more other movies in this time period that we're discussing that I think maybe pushed the envelope a little bit more than that. But it definitely was a good movie, but I have to say no.
I would have said no to Paranormal Activity as well. Because I would argue that Blair Witch Project started the whole found footage thing. Paranormal Activity just took it to it.
Well, I wasn't saying that, but it had been 8 years since Blair Witch had come out. There was nothing else that had come out. I'm saying this revitalized the resurgence of these found footage films. I'm not taking anything away from Blair Witch Project. I absolutely love that film, but it had been dormant for so long, that found footage stuff, because Blair Witch 2 wasn't found footage, and it was shit too. It was a bad movie. But what I'm saying is, I think this kind of helped this resurgence of found footage films, and to me, I thought, I just enjoyed it, but it is what it is.
But it's back to Robert. Robert, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I think I know where this one's going to go, but I'm going to throw it out there anyway, just because I feel like it at least needs to be mentioned. And it was a movie that came out last year, so that's kind of the feeling I think we're going to have with this. But I am actually surprised how good it was for it being a remake, and that was Suspiria. I absolutely love the original Dario Argento Suspiria. It's easily one of my favorite, most classic horror movies. And while this remake, the Luca Guadagnino remake, went in completely different directions, it still had like that feel, the creepiness to it. And I think he did a very good job for what it was. There was some stuff missing, like you missed out on Dario Argento's oversaturation colors that were used in the original, but we got that replaced with nice. We got that replaced with
what's up, Hunter?
With the cinematography that Luca Guadagnino was known for from like Call Me by Your Name. I think Suspiria was a gorgeous movie. It was gorgeously done. It does require multiple viewings to kind of really take in, which can kind of make or break a movie, as you're going to see probably with Us that came out, that also requires multiple viewings, I would say. But yeah, I would throw out Suspiria 2018.
So I was just putting a message in there so Hunter knows what's on the list so far. But yeah,
Thank you.
but yeah, now that we've actually got 5 people, everyone's vote counts for these now. So
thanks. I need a Paranormal Activity, you idiot. No, I'm just kidding.
Can we go back and re-vote on everything that voted off? Yeah.
But anyway, Suspiria never came out in New Zealand, so I've not seen it. Hunter, what do you say about Suspiria?
Sadly, this is one that I haven't seen recently, but I have to get onto it.
Russell, what do you say about Suspiria?
My wife, I was excited about this film because I remember it didn't get a show playing around here or Pittsburgh when it came out. And I did just originally watch the original one again, right? Like, I'd say within the last year. I watched, my wife and I sat down and watched it, and it's just so muddled and boring for the first half hour. I like shut it off. We tried different times to start it back up and just couldn't finish it. To me, it was one of those, I don't think he knew the direction he wanted to take this film. In my eyes, when I'm watching it, it was just muddled. It was a lot of, confusion of what the hell was going on. Like, you knew the basic framework from the original film, but you didn't. It was different. I'm not going to sit there and say it was a different perspective again. And that's what I was saying in general about modernizing films, and I think that's so important that these things get modernized because they do age. But the original Suspiria was really good. To me, I never finished it. It was just boring, and I like I said, I legit have it on Blu-ray. I have it right there in the living room. I need to pick it up and watch it. It was something I want to do, but it's like I think I started it at the wrong time of night, and it was just muddled and boring, and I was like, nothing's happening. I'm gonna go to bed. You know what I mean? So it's a no for me because I didn't see all of it. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a no.
I will interject real quick. You need to see the end of that because that ending is the gut punch on that movie.
Okay. I will watch it. I will watch it for sure.
Brian, what would you have said about Suspiria?
For the first time in 19 films we've had nominated, this is one that I have not seen, and honestly, I have zero interest in seeing it, so I can't really vote on it.
Is this the top 8 list now, guys? We good? No, I'm just kidding.
But anyway, it's back to me, and then Hunter will be straight after me. But we've danced around this we had a big talk about this before, but I'm going to throw this out there and just try my luck, even though I do know where you sit with it. I'm going to go for Get Out. This is one that a lot of people do consider a thriller more than a horror, but at this point, I just thought I'll throw it out there, try it. A lot of people have been saying in the comments, and I just thought I'd try it, get it out the way, then move on. But Brian, what do you say about Get Out?
Like you said, and like we talked about a little bit earlier, I have a hard time seeing this as a horror movie. It really is. It's a psychological thriller, things like that. I don't see it as a horror. I definitely don't see it as top 12 of this time period. I enjoyed the movie, but again, not nearly as much as a lot of other people. People just loved this movie, and I thought it was good, but not great. And I don't want to start loosening our criteria or just saying giving some benefit of doubt just because we're getting so far down the list. Because I think that there are better films that can make it on, so I'm going to say no.
Yeah, no, that's as I said. I just thought I'll try my luck, and then that way the people in the comments know where we stand on Get Out. So, Russell, what do you say about Get Out?
Yeah, I was vocal about this at the beginning of our stream, like off air. To me, Get Out was my second favorite film of the year, 2017. Obviously, first being Logan. But me, I saw this film and I loved it. I really did. But to me, again, it's not. I don't get a horror film vibe from this film. The social implications or social topics that it brings up is super important. This film will be looked at 10 years from now as, a staple. I mean, this movie was really important with the topics it was trying to bring out, that Jordan Peele did beautifully. And again, and kind of not to beat the dead horse, it was one of those movies that, again, that you need multiple viewings to watch because you don't notice that stuff at the beginning the first time. And that's the beauty of Jordan Peele, and it's the same thing that goes for the movie Us. But to me, I see this as more of a thriller, social commentary on racism and stuff like that too, which I think is important. I'm not downgrading this film. This film's excellent film, but to me, I don't see this as a horror film. So I'm gonna give it a no, as much as it hurts. But do keep in mind, I do like this film a lot and respect the film.
Hunter, what do you say about Get Out?
All right, I'm gonna give it a yes. And I understand the whole thriller to horror thing, but if I look at the movie, there's a lot of thriller elements, but there's also a lot of horror elements, especially towards the end of the movie when you find out what they are doing and the whole sequence with him in the chair. All of that is real, like, horror elements for him, for the character, and for the audience. But also,
that's oh, sorry. Just go ahead. I'm sorry. I'll talk about it after. I wanted to interject.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
But also, just as a movie as a whole, I see horror and thriller as the same category. It's horror thriller. It's, to me, I don't separate them. So I love this movie. I've watched it multiple times in theaters, multiple times, on Blu-ray and DVD, and I notice stuff different every single time that lead up to the twist ending. The acting is really fantastic. The story, the script, everything is perfect in my eyes. So I'm giving it a yes.
So Robert, it's down to you. But what do you say about Get Out?
So the first thing I will probably say is I went to the world premiere of Us at South by, and they had a Q&A after it was over with Jordan Peele up there on the stage, and someone was asking him in regards to his need to make these movies, seeing that he came from comedy on Key and Peele. And one of the first things that he made mention of, and I'm completely paraphrasing because I don't remember exactly, but even he himself said that, like, look, Get Out was more of a social commentary type of movie. It was not meant to be thought of as horror, unlike Us, which Us definitely is more rooted in a horror genre. So even Jordan Peele was saying, like, he doesn't consider Get Out to be a horror movie, which, I mean, before I even saw that, I would have to agree. Like we're saying, it is more of just a thriller, a social commentary, socio-political thriller, I guess. I don't believe it's a horror movie. I would not call it that.
That's completely fair. And now, Hunter, it's back to you, and you've actually got the disadvantage of not knowing everything else we've brought up, so we may have to stop you a few times.
All right, here we go. I'm going with one that's kind of different in a way, but the thing that makes this movie so terrifying to me, at least, is that it can happen in real life, and it has happened, and it does happen, and that's The Strangers. I don't know if anybody's brought that up.
No, it's brought it up. It's definitely on my list. Yeah.
The horrifying thing about The Strangers is that, as I pointed out, this stuff happens in our daily lives, and you're pretty much stuck in that movie for the entire running time. The horrifying they use in that movie of not showing the strangers at all times, but using the dark corners and using the camera angles where you look to one side, you can see one of them, but he's hidden in the dark. They're hiding. They're stalking his family. That's the most terrifying thing to me because, like, it's way too real. And that's what I love is when a horror movie can get under your skin and really terrify, everybody to the bone. And that's why I'm going with The Strangers.
Brian, I'm going to start with you. What do you say about The Strangers?
The Strangers, I remember when I first saw trailers for it, it looked really good. It looked like, a good sense of tension, a good sense of dread and everything that's going on. When I saw the movie, I actually felt the same way. I mean, it kind of had that, like you say, this could happen in real life, and there's these people outside, and there's this constant feeling of dread. But the problem for me is that the second half, actually maybe even 2/3 of the movie, it just turned into a series of jump scares. It was just jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, jump scare, and it got kind of old after a while. By the end, I'm just like, would you just kill them already? Although I actually did like the very ending. But yeah. I can't put this in top 12 for me.
Russell, what do you say about The Strangers?
I do love the ending, and I think that was a final. You get the finality of it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. There didn't need to be pray at night, which I did enjoy. I like the '80s aesthetic they went for with that. I did enjoy that in its own right, but it was like a guilty pleasure. But 2008's The Strangers, You have Speedman and Liv Tyler, and you know, I do enjoy it. It's dark. The whole film's dark. You know, you don't realize actually the rewatching it how dark and like gritty the film is. And just to take a little, you know, just to take a little bit from The Strangers, I also got the same type of feel from 2007's Vacancy with Luke Wilson and Kate Beckinsale. Basically the same type-esque film almost, but not really. You know what I mean? This happens in a rundown hotel. You know what I'm saying? It's pretty much the same thing. But I like The Strangers. I did enjoy it. Would I put it in the top 12? Sure. I do enjoy it. A lot of people, this movie's really divisive. But it works for me. I enjoy the film, so I'll go ahead and greenlight it. I'll say yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, I've just not seen The Strangers, so it's down to Robert. What do you say about The Strangers?
So my list as of right now is The Descent, Train to Busan, and The Strangers.
So, killing me, Smalls.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so eager to talk about horror movies, but then we're mentioning like the ones that I know I should have seen by now, and I hate that. Again, another movie that is on my list. The second I get some time to see it, I want to watch it. Especially because seeing Us and then hearing how many people are comparing Us to The Strangers as far as like that home invasion type of scenario in it. I want to see that. So that was also another reason why I walked out to go get something to drink real quick, because y'all are, again, talking about a movie I haven't seen yet and I didn't want to hear anything about it. But I unfortunately haven't seen it. I can't give any input on it.
Anyway, it's back to Brian. Brian, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I do recommend the.
This is never going to end.
Oh, good.
Okay. We're never getting out of here, are we? I'm only half jokingly saying that maybe we should go back to the ones that had 2 versus 2 votes and have Hunter tiebreak them. But we'll see where it goes this round first. See what happens. I'm going to go more mainstream with this and see if we can make some progress. I want to go with one that I thought was not only a great remake, but just a great film on its own, and that was 2004's Dawn of the Dead from Zack Snyder. I actually prefer this to the original. I think it was exciting. I think it was beautifully shot. It kind of showed Zack Snyder kind of had a style. I mean, he didn't kind of do that comic book style, but he still had a good style with the way he did his filmmaking. I thought the cast was great. It was scary. It was well done. I know a lot of people hate running zombies, but I remember seeing the first half hour. I remember they aired it on like the first 20 minutes on TV as basically a commercial for the movie that was coming out. And just seeing the society break down and those running zombies, it created this tension, and it was really well done. And so I'm going to vote Dawn of the Dead 2004.
I don't remember this movie. I think I have seen it. I just don't remember, so I'm going to say no to it. Robert, what do you say about Dawn of the Dead?
So the original Romero Dawn of the Dead is also one of my favorite movies of all time. And I think that Zack Snyder did a very good job whilst doing things separate, not, again, following the same things, doing an accurate remake of it. So the fast-moving zombies, I thought was a nice take on it. The music used in there, I think it was Richard Cheese that did the cover of Disturbed's Down with the Sickness that was kind of weird in that movie. The effects, the acting, a lot more people involved that are trapped in the mall compared to the original one. Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think fantastic job. I'm going to say yes.
Hunter, what do you say about Dawn of the Dead?
I actually really enjoy this movie. I think, you know what? Let's put it on the list. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed this remake.
And Dawn of the Dead makes list. Russell, what would you have said?
I just said no. To me, I appreciate Snyder. I'm a big advocate of Man of Steel. I think I'm probably like one of the few. But I don't know. To me, it just was one of those ones. It was a remake, but it just didn't stick with me. Like the whole mall setting and stuff like that. It was good. It was good shot. To me, I don't know. The whole zombie-esque feel to it it wasn't scary for me. You know what I mean? When I think of horror films, you know what I mean? so it's more of action film type. Wow, was sprinkled in with some, zombie stuff. So no, I just said no, but doesn't matter.
But anyway, it's back to Russell. Russell, what is the next movie you're going to nominate?
God, I have so many that I need to make this list, but I don't know if you guys have seen them. That's the thing. Yeah, you know what? No, because I remember last time, I think nobody saw this film. I'll throw it out here because I got a couple of different guys that like horror movies. So I'm thinking maybe this will get out here. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and do this one. 2005, Wolf Creek. I really enjoyed this film. The Australian guy that was very creepy, and the way that it was shot, he was so sinister in this film. I really enjoyed this film a lot. And it's something, again, I always use this theme, but I come back to this film every Halloween when I watch scary movies, when I binge scary movies, you know what I mean, in the month of October. I love the film. It really makes you feel uneasy and how psychological like this guy really is in the film. And yes, it did play a little bit with the whole torture porn-esque type stuff to it too, but the movie works for me. So I'm going to go ahead and go Wolf Creek, 2005.
Hunter, what do you say about Wolf Creek?
Sadly, Russ, I haven't seen it.
I know you didn't. So that's why I was hesitant even throwing this on the list.
But I mean, I have seen it, and I'm actually going to go yes to it. It's definitely very interesting in a way, and it's definitely one I didn't think I was going to like when I saw it, but I do like it enough. But
cool.
Brian, what do you say about Wolf Creek?
I think I saw it, but honestly, I don't think it made enough of an impression on me to remember it specifically. There's a whole bunch of horror movies right then. It's Wolf Creek and Descent, and I think High Tension and some other ones. They all kind of blur together for me. And unfortunately, I don't remember enough about this to vote yes on it. So it must not have made a huge impression on me. But sorry, I don't remember it.
Robert, it's down to you. What do you say about Wolf Creek?
I don't remember actually hearing about this movie, but I'm looking up about it real quick, and this movie sounds fantastic.
It is fantastic. The guy that's in it, the lead actor, is an Australian actor, terrific in this film. You need to put that on the top of your list to watch because it's tremendous.
This sounds really good, but yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it, so
yeah,
that
put it on the list.
So our actual topic tonight is the top 12 movies for his watch list, right?
No, the top 12 movies none of us have seen.
The thing is horror is such a huge genre, and everyone has their own likes and stuff.
Yeah.
At first, when I was talking about wanting to do this thing, I figured we were going to come up across a lot of this where it's like, hey, movie you should have seen by now if you say you like horror movies. But looking at this panel, I think that's actually okay. If nothing else, we're just getting good recommendations from people who know enough about horror movies to participate in the panel about it.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, with a lot of Australian and even New Zealand movies, they don't always get a very wide release in other countries. And
this one got released on Christmas. I remember they had if you notice back in 04, 05, 06, Christmas was the Christmas day was the perfect time to release horror movies for them.
Horror movies,
because Black Christmas came out on Christmas. Haha. I remember, Wolf Creek came out on Christmas.
Christmas Day.
Yeah, those all came out on Christmas Day. But and I remember, like I said, I am being a horror fan. I remember seeing it in 2005 on Christmas Day, but how twisted that is. But it's a really good film. Check it out for sure.
Definitely.
But anyway, Robert, it's back to you. Nomination.
So I'm going to go with one that now that we've been talking for a while, I believe we could potentially open this one up. It's also I believe a fairly newer movie, possibly a couple of years now. I just recently saw it within the past year, and I loved it. And I'm hoping other people here have seen it too, and that was Terrifier. Kind of like a spinoff from All Hallows Eve. It was another psycho clown killer. It was very small, very short set. I think they only had 3 or 4 different sets that this movie took place on. But the makeup, the acting, the effects, they were all fantastic while still keeping the element of it being like a B-horror movie. Absolutely loved it. I can't wait to watch it again. I'm just letting it kind of marinate for a bit. And I want to go back and watch All Hallows Eve where it spun off from. But yeah, Terrifier was great.
But yeah, I remember seeing this on Netflix in New Zealand when it popped up. I just haven't clicked on it to actually watch it. So yeah, Brian, what do you say about Terrifier?
I think when he said the title, I saw like three of us all reach over and Google it at the same time. Because I have never even heard of this movie, but I just added it to my Netflix queue because it's got to be worth a shot if he's got that passionate about it. But unfortunately, I have not seen it.
If you like gore, it is a pretty gory movie, probably with one of the goriest like death killer scenes ever.
Russell, what do you say about Terrifier?
I started a list too. I guess because apparently this is what happens. Yeah, never saw it. I remember it was the cover of it with the clown mask on Netflix. Yeah, it's something I saw. It just was one of those ones I never got around to watching. I was busy watching Abducted in Plain Sight and Ted Bundy tapes and all that fun stuff. But yeah, I have not checked this one out, so I'll put it on my list. So I can't vote.
And Hunter, it's safe to assume you've not seen it.
I have not.
But anyway, it's back to me, and I'm going to go for a found footage thing. I think that it's better than Paranormal Activity, and
What?
that is 2008's Cloverfield. This literally came out of nowhere, and like no one knew what it was until it premiered, or because I think the official trailer came out about a month before, and it intrigued me enough to want to go see it. And when I saw it, I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. I do think it's the best found footage movie that we've sort of had, and I do think it deserves to be on this list. Robert, I'm going to go to you. What do you say about Cloverfield?
So Chlorophyll was one of those I was kind of thinking, much like Shaun of the Dead. It was kind of like a multiple category, and I think that was more of like a sci-fi rather than just straight horror. Except for the scene where they're walking through, I believe they're walking through the subway tunnels and the baby clovers are attacking them. That was just straight up horror in that scene, yes. But I think for the movie overall, it was more of just a sci-fi. It was a giant monster wreaking havoc in New York. That really wasn't too much different than Godzilla. And I don't know if you would technically put Godzilla on the list of it being a horror movie as well, rather than just a straight sci-fi. So for that, I'm probably going to go with no.
Hunter, what do you say about Cloverfield?
That's where I kind of agree with Robert, is that I see Cloverfield as more of a sci-fi movie over a horror movie. And I have another Matt Reeves movie that I feel should be on this list. And I don't like when multiple directors get on the list, so it's going to be a no for me for those two reasons.
Russell, what do you say about Cloverfield?
Yeah, Matt Reeves directed the hell out of this movie. I did enjoy it. To me, it's a sci-fi thriller, and I can't be convinced otherwise. Not a scary movie, so I'm going to say no.
Brian, what do you say about Cloverfield?
I kind of echoing the rest. I mean, there are definitely horror elements to it, but I think it's predominantly a sci-fi movie. And if you allow this, you have to start allowing Godzilla and all these things. And to let a sci-fi movie on the list when we've let real horror movies go, I can't do it.
Hunter, it's back to you.
Okay, so I have this one, and then I have an extra one in case it has been used already. I'm going with a horror movie that really broke a lot of ground. I'm going with 2005's The Descent.
Already been shot down. Yeah, I voted for it. Already nominated. Already shot down.
Where was I? Dang it.
Yeah.
All right, then I'm going for 2010's Let Me In.
The other Matt Reeves movie.
That one good?
Yeah, it hasn't been brought up yet.
Okay, so this is a remake of a Swedish film called Let the Right Ones In. Follows this young vampire who's stuck in this body. She meets this little boy who's kind of an outsider. They meet and they slowly start getting a romantic relationship with each other. Why it's called Let Me In is because, of course, her being a vampire, she has to be invited in. and we go from there. It's a terrifying yet real love story, and I love the two actors that they have to play the characters. It's dark, it's suspenseful. It's also a really touching tale of two outsiders coming together and really, really finding a place in this world. So that's why I'm going. Let me in.
And Brian, what do you say about Let Me In?
Oh, you gotta go to me first all the time. Let Me In is one of those movies that I know has a lot of fans, and maybe there's enough on this panel to push it through, but I did not love it. Again, I didn't hate it, but I'm not a big fan of it. I can't put it in top 12. So I'll leave it to the rest of the guys to decide.
Russell, what do you say about Let Me In?
I have had zero interest to watch this film. I've never seen it. I know the premise of it. Just was one of those movies, even by the box. I just was like, I don't give it. I don't care. No offense. I mean, it was one of those ones. It just didn't do it for me. Like box wise, premise wise. Yeah. It just I don't know. Just doesn't do it for me. So I didn't see it. So I got to vote no.
Robert, what would you have said?
I typically am not a huge fan of a lot of vampire movies, but I like the bullying aspect that was present in this movie because I really connected with that, as maybe some of y'all connect with it as well. A lot of like these kind of genre pop culture nerds may have been tortured just a little bit when we were younger. Yeah. So a lot of people are able to easily connect with that. I liked it. I thought it was great acting, especially by Chloe Grace Moretz, who was just coming off of Kick-Ass, I believe, and really making a name for herself. So, yeah, I'll go ahead and say yes.
Yeah, I've just not seen it.
Dang it!
But anyway, it's back to Brian.
Oh, I'm running out of movies. Movies I think will make it. I'm gonna go with one. It's a little more of a lighter, popular kind of movie, and not real deep and meaningful. So I don't know how many people here are gonna enjoy it as much as I did. But I thought it was kind of something new and fresh in the horror genre, and that was just from 2017, and that was Happy Death Day. I mean, it could have just been your typical slasher flick, but it kind of took the whole, people call it the Groundhog Day idea of reliving the day over and over again. And it really used it very well, applying it to the horror genre, and it was fun. It had some good kills, lots of good kills, mostly of the same person over and over again. And I don't know if anyone else is going to like it as much as I did, but as far as adding something new to the genre, I thought it did a good job.
Yeah, I'm going to start off on this. I had it on my list. It was one of those ones that I was contemplating bringing up. But I wasn't going to bring up. But I was just for wait to see if someone else is going to bring it up before me, because I don't want to be the one that brought it up. But I surprisingly love this movie. I've still got to see the sequel, but
so good.
But this is just one that I went in thinking like. It's intriguing. I don't know what to think. I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I'm going to say yes to it. But Robert, what do you say about Happy Death Day?
I like the idea of Groundhog Day, 1201, whatever these repeating day movies in a horror movie. I don't know. I'm torn on it because I think there's some much better movies that have come out that still have yet to be mentioned. But at the same time, I think it was a very catchy idea. Even though some of it, my opinion was it wasn't played out very well. Like different times she wakes up in the morning, the people outside the dorm are still always in the same position. I thought that was a little off. I don't know. I'm probably going to go with no, just because I want to see some other stuff that I know is going to pop up still that definitely deserves a yes. But it was a good movie. It was a cute movie as far as what it was bringing to the table.
Hunter, I saw your face light up when this was mentioned. What do you say about Happy Death Day?
I love this movie. This is such a fun, energetic, kind of like Groundhog's Day. That's the perfect way I put it, with the great writing, the humor added into it. I loved the first one. I thought the second one was a great sequel. It's a yes for me.
And with that, Happy Death Day does make list. Russell, what would you have said?
I probably would have said no. I'm thinking just because of the fact, yeah, it does play. I appreciate the original idea it took. But it kind of reminded me, and I another advocate of this 2001 film Valentine. I think I'm probably the only one that likes this movie because it's like bad acting in it. Kind of reminds me of that with the Mass Killer and stuff like that.
I like Valentine.
I love the soundtrack's tremendous. Valentine, but yeah, I just said no. But yeah. Oh boy, this is gonna be.
But yeah, Russell, it's back to you.
God, I just want to get something on the damn list. Let me see here.
We have 10 so far, right?
I think we've got what, 2, 4, 6, 8. Yeah, we got 10. Okay, good.
Okay.
Wait, did that just go on the list?
Yeah, it's the one on the list.
Yes.
I thought we had more people vote no than yes on it on Happy Death Day.
No, it's Malcolm, Hunter,
Hunter, and Brian.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just said a no, but that's just me. God, what the hell can I vote for that's not gonna? I want to vote for this one. People are not gonna have seen this movie, so I'm not gonna nominate that. I want to though. You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna go something different. I'm gonna go 2012. I'm gonna put Sinister on there. The first Sinister. I enjoyed that film. I think this was like kind of the resurgence of Ethan Hawke's career. This was pre The Purge, if you remember, because that came out the year after. But I just enjoyed this film. It was freaky. The family that hangs themselves on the tree was super creepy. That like found video footage, or what? Not found video footage, but them reenacting it was really scary. And it plays on all that horror type stuff. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna go throw 2012 Sinister on there.
Sinister is on the table. I have to say no, just because I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. It's one that I think I do need to revisit, because maybe I missed something on that, like. But yeah, I'm going to say no. But Robert, what do you say about Sinister?
I think I just had it confused with another movie. Yeah, this was the one where he finds like the Super 8 footage, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't actually remember if I've seen this. I don't remember. I think I have. I think I have, because it was Scott Derrickson who did it with before he did Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
I don't remember it that much. Maybe I just need to go back and revisit it again. But
so there was a no.
yeah, no.
Hunter, what do you say about Sinister?
I just haven't seen it.
Brian, what would you have said about Sinister?
We've been a little on the fence, probably leaning towards no, because this is one of those that, again, just kind of gets mixed up in my mind with this glut of Sinister, Insidious, Conjuring, all this kind of thing that was same thing, same time, and it didn't make an impression on me.
Robert, what is the next movie you're going to bring up?
I'm gonna go with another Sam Raimi movie, which really impressed me because it's not very often a PG-13 horror movie does a very good job of bringing like the scares and stuff, and that was Drag Me to Hell. That movie was fantastic, and I still like talking about movies that you can rewatch over and over again. That one is still fantastic to rewatch, and I still keep on getting, I guess, enlightened by things I may not have caught the first time, but it's just really entertaining movie.
Hunter, what do you say about Drag Me to Hell?
I think I watched like pieces of this. I just haven't finished the whole thing, so I can't really say anything about it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it. Russell, what do you say about Drag Me to Hell?
We need to get movies on the list, so I'm gonna go sure. It was good. It was good. I mean, it was a good film. It's something that you wouldn't really associate with Sam Raimi, but it worked. It was a scary. It was scary-esque for a PG-13 film. So I'll go ahead and throw it on.
Brian, what do you say about Drake?
This is one I considered. It's again another borderline one for me. I don't want to give things a pass just to get things on the list, but I think even if this one had been earlier, I would probably lean towards the yes side. So I'm going to say yes.
And Drag Me to Hell makes the list.
Drag Me to Hell. That's the name of this is the podcast. Drag Me to Hell for getting these 12 video movies on our. All right, one more, boys. Let's get this.
Yeah, and it's back to me. I'm going to go to very early on in the 2000s again. So I'm going to go for 28 Days Later. This is this is another zombie movie, but and this is fuck, I can't remember the name of the Robert Carlyle, I think, was the main guy in this, but
that was the sequel.
No,
The second one.
you're thinking of Cillian Murphy.
It was Cillian Murphy was in the first one.
Murphy was the first one, yeah.
I mean, either or, the sequel is pretty good as well, but I do think 28 Days Later is the better one out of the two, but yeah, it's a fun movie. It's definitely interesting, like just seeing Cillian Murphy sort of go around this abandoned thing, finding all the various survivors and all that, and but yeah, I don't know whether we'll get on the list, but let's find out. Robert, I'll start with you. You going to say yes to or no to 28 Days?
That was a pretty good zombie movie. Definitely took like a couple of watches for me to get through it, but I definitely like appreciate it once it finally sunk in. Yeah, I'm probably gonna go with yes on it.
Hunter, what do you say about 28 Days Later?
I remember liking this movie, but with one spot left, it's going to be a no for me. I don't remember too much of that movie. I remember just enough that it was okay, just not top 12.
Russell, what do you say about 28 Days Later?
See, I don't think it's a horror movie. This is like tiptoes the line like I Am Legend, pretty much. It's one of those post-apocalyptic type things, and I don't know. It's Danny Boyle. I mean, does a fantastic job directing this film. It's a slow burn, definitely a slow burn type film, but yeah, I see this more as a sci-fi apocalyptic type film, sci-fi ish. So that's a no for me.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Brian, what do you say?
I think the argument can be made for it to be a horror film. I mean, yes, it's kind of post-apocalyptic, and they're not actually zombies. It's this is a couple of rage virus, I think, in this movie.
Yeah.
So, but they're certainly behaving like the fast zombie kind of idea. That being said, a good movie, not a great one. So I'd vote no.
Anyway, it doesn't make the list.
Back to the drawing board.
Hunter, that's back to you.
All right, so I again have two because I'm not sure what has been said or what not. I'm going to go with this one first. Don't Breathe.
Hasn't been brought up.
Has it?
No.
Hasn't.
Has not.
Okay, I'm going with Don't Breathe. Again, this is a home invasion movie with a blind Stephen Lang who sets torture traps for these people who come in and try to rob him. This is a fast-paced horror movie. It keeps moving forward. The acting is great. Jane Levy does an incredible job as the lead. Stephen Lang kills it as someone who has to pretend to be blind, looking at his surroundings. There's a lot of intense moments, especially in the hallway scene where he's creeping around. You have no idea where it is. And the twist at the end really got me. I did not see that coming. So I'm putting Don't Breathe on the list.
I'll go first on this. I saw this for the first time last year, and I really enjoyed it. I didn't know too much about this movie going in,
That's the perfect way to go.
but yeah, I'm going to say yes to it. Robert, what do you say about Don't Breathe?
I would say that is the best use of a turkey baster ever since Thanksgiving.
Oh, yeah.
You'll never look at it the same way again.
Yeah. This movie actually was the next one I was gonna bring up on my list, so I will go with yes.
Yes.
And Don't Breathe is the final one on the list.
I got one good.
Russell, what was-
I had it on the list for 2016 films. Again, I'm gonna kind of beat the dead horse here. 2014 and Follows really set the page for like new, original, different ideas for horror films. I feel, obviously with the omission of like 2015's The Witch, we're gonna get shit for that. I'm sure. The Visit, things like that. 2016.
Not for me. I hated The Witch. But, okay.
2016's Don't Breathe. Almost like, and then Lights Out was another one. Like different types of premises for the film. I enjoyed it, so I probably would have put it on there.
Brian, what would you have said about Don't Breathe?
Don't Breathe was one that was not in my top 12, but if I weed it down to the top 12 that I think actually had a chance of making this list, it would definitely be on there. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought Fede Alvarez, again directing Jane Levy, he did a good job visually, and I thought it was very well constructed. There was definitely tension there. So I would have voted yes on it.
Can I throw some honorable mentions out just for
we're going to do that.
Shits and giggles?
Yeah, I was going to go to honorable mentions anyway.
Okay, so I'm just going to go down the list from 2000 to 2018 real quick because it's not going to be that long of a list. But 2000, the notable omission, What Lies Beneath, was a really good film. Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford thought was a really good film. 01, we left out The Others. I thought that was a really good film. Enjoy Ride. 02, Mothman Prophecies, I really liked a lot. Richard Gere, really good film. 03, High Tension, obviously. The remake of Texas Chainsaw. House of Thousand Corpses was on the table. Freddy vs. Jason. Those are just fun films. 05, Exorcism, Emily Rose. Hostel. Skeleton Key was really good. 06, we left out Pan's Labyrinth. That's a tiptoe. That's why I never brought it up because it was one of those ones where it's not horror-esque. 07, we left out 1408. Was a really good film based on a Stephen King. Was it based on a Stephen King?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. 1408, Vacancy, Captivity with Alicia Cuthbert, a lot of movie that not a lot of people have seen. 08, no, nothing. Yeah, Last House on the Left in 09. Human Centipede was another one I thought was really good. My Bloody Valentine. 2011, Scream 4. Silent House. 2012, Lords of Salem, Woman in Black. 2013, obviously, The Conjuring, The Purge, Mama. 2014, Tusk.
Dang it.
Tusk, Kevin Smith's Tusk. It was fun.
God,
It's a fun film. I thought it was. 2015, The Witch, The Visit, Krampus, The Gift. They consider horror, but I don't really see that as much of a horror.
I see that more thriller.
And same thing with Knock Knock's more of a thriller. 2016, obviously Don't Breathe, Lights Out. I have The Shallows because they consider The Shallows a horror movie, but I really love that movie, and I just want to get that out there. Blake Lively's tremendous in that film. Belko Experiment's a really good film. Got that on there too. 2017, Phoenix Forgotten's a found footage film. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. 2018, again, it tiptoes the line again. Overlord, the remake of Halloween, or the Halloween sequel, I should say, sorry. And Hellfest, which I really enjoyed. So guilty pleasure. Yeah.
I was gonna do that.
That's all I really wanted. I know that's a big laundry list, but I just want to get those movies out there, give them some love.
But
I think another one that we missed was American Psycho.
Yeah, you know what? Again,
Wasn't that 90s?
yeah. It was 01.
It was one.
01. Wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
I got a few on mine. Well, once they shot down Shaun of the Dead, it kind of killed half my list with the horror comedies. I mean, I would have put Zombieland, Tucker and Dale versus Evil, Deathgasm, Final Girls. There's a crazy one called Detention, which is it's all kinds of genres in one, but it's worth checking out. And then again, I kind of didn't think anybody would have seen most of these. Some foreign ones, Thirst from 2009 from the director of Oldboy. It's an excellent vampire film. I Saw the Devil. which is another one from 2010 I would recommend. And then just a couple more. Quiet Place, I'm surprised nobody brought up. Daybreakers is an Ethan Hawke and Willem Dafoe vampire movie, which came out in 2009 by the Spielberg brothers. I thought was actually very well done, but I don't think got a lot of attention. And lastly, I knew nobody would agree with me on this, but I really enjoyed 2005's Constantine, which is kind of an action horror.
I didn't mind that one, actually.
The only other one I would have mentioned would be Tragedy Girls. Tragedy Girls was pretty good.
Yes, I enjoyed that.
But,
I don't know if I call it 12 best, but we were scraping, so who knows?
Yeah.
But I'm going to give a shout out to the chat. Cameron Holzman was in the chat, banging on about Entering the Apocalypse, the crazy horror musical comedy that came out last year.
I enjoyed that. I wouldn't call it a top 12, but I enjoyed it.
I haven't seen it, and there's a lot of people calling for justice for Hereditary and revotes and all that.
I put it on there, guys.
Hereditary is a good one.
Hereditary is an awful movie.
One of the ones I had on my list was The Babysitter, Gerald's Game, and then I had Unsane.
Yeah, Unsane I had on my list, but that was more of a, I think, thriller.
Thriller, yeah. Babysitter is actually completely underrated. That's a completely fun time. It's a Netflix movie directed by Mick G.
Unsane for sure, though. Soderbergh shot it on an iPhone, which was really cool and creative. So yeah.
Other ones I had on my list, like I had The Exorcism of Emily Rose on mine as well.
I wanted to put that on there. I had to put that on there.
But I didn't bring it up earlier because like it's one of those ones which does kind of skate the surface between courtroom drama and horror. I mean, it is a horror. I mean, it's counted, but it's also one that
To touch what Richard said, though, I think for being a PG-13 film, he made mention of that in a different film, but for being a PG-13 film, Exorcism Emily Rose scared the shit out of me. The way, I mean, it was just so scary and creepy, like that whole 3 a.m. stuff, and I really enjoyed that. So I would have put that on.
But other ones I had on I had The Others, which was already said. I had the Halls Have Eyes remake. I really liked.
I did too. Yeah.
Amityville
Horror remake.
Yeah, I actually just completely forgot about that.
Me too.
Even though it's not a great movie, but I had Jennifer's Body on here, but I actually enjoyed that.
I remember seeing it in the theater.
I enjoyed it.
Megan Fox, man, she was huge after Transformers.
Yeah, I also had Truth or Dare from last year, and I had Split, which is another one that escapes the surface.
I wrote Split on there just for shits and giggles. It wasn't really a horror film, but yeah.
Split is also one that's more thriller, psychological thriller.
A lot of people are gonna have to bite back because of The Witch, though. I had never actually watched.
Granted, though, I also see The Witch as thriller, not horror, but it's more of a slow burn thriller than it is
starting out like in those like almost like I want to say like the Scarlet Letter days or whatever. It bored me like the first 5 minutes of it. I was like, I can't do it.
Which is a really good movie, but I see it more as thriller than straight horror.
But anyway, time for the fun bit, which is putting this list together. We'll write down what we want at number 12 on a whiteboard or a bit of paper or just something that you can write on. And then whatever's got the most votes will be number 12. I've already got mine written down because mine was pretty easy to just know what I wanted. But
I know what I want off. Well, that I would take off.
But anyway, Brian, what do you have for number 12?
I'm trying to decide between a couple. I'm just going to test the waters here with The Ring.
What?
Russell, what do you have for number 12?
Touche, sir. I'm going to go Sweeney Todd.
Hunter, what do you want for number 12?
Drive Me to Hell.
Robert, what do you want for number 12?
Happy Death Day.
I swear to God, guys, if you do 5 different movies, I'm going to be pissed.
Well, it's not going to be 5 different movies because as much as I liked Happy Death Day compared to the others, it's
What? What?
I mean, if Cody Newby was here, he would say that, like, quite often he would say yes to a movie just to have an easy one to go in at number 12. So,
Alrighty. I know what number 11 is.
uh,
All right.
but anyway, I'll start this time. I've got It Follows for 11. Robert, what do you want for 11?
I am still trying to pick.
I'll go to Brian. Brian, what do you want for 11?
This time I went with Saw.
Russell, what do you want for 11?
We got to get this movie lower on the list. Sweeney Todd.
Russell,
No, it's gotta be
Hunter,
top
what do you
3.
want for 11?
Oh, Rush, Sweeney Todd.
Attaboy.
Ooh.
Robert, what did you have for 11?
It Follows.
Fuck.
Serious.
So Brian, It Follows or Sweeney Todd?
Which one leaves? Goes on. Oh, we'll put It Follows now.
What? Oh my gosh.
No.
It Follows is so much better than Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, but I will point out you can't sing along to a creepy STD.
Challenge accepted.
There is.
So bad.
And there's the Crows of the Night. You can't sing along to a STD.
The movie is not good.
I want that as a T-shirt right now.
Well, I know what I'm for 10 then. This is horseshit.
Oh, Rush.
Get this off the damn list already. Sweeney Todd.
Sweeney Todd.
God, it shouldn't even be on there.
If I was on here, Rush, beforehand, I probably would have downvoted it.
No, it's not a good movie.
I don't think it was like it's a horror musical. Those two genres don't work.
Guys are being spiteful.
Let's keep moving. My marker's dying here.
But anyway, Brian, what do you want for 10?
Is that me?
Yeah, Brian.
I'm back to The Ring. The Ring.
You have a vendetta for the movies I put on, I think.
Russell, what do you
Just
want?
different tastes.
I said Sweeney Todd. I had Sweeney Todd on there.
Hunter, you stayed with Sweeney Todd.
It was Sweeney Todd.
Robert, what did you have?
I think we're going to put it at 10 because, God, that's good.
Thank you.
Yeah. Still too low in my opinion.
Shouldn't be on
Yeah,
the
I
top,
mean,
though.
I had Cabin in the Woods.
What?
I love Sweeney Todd also, but yeah, I agree. Almost all the other movies on this list deserve to be higher than Sweeney Todd or lower, however you want to word that.
I can't believe it follows an 11.
But anyway, just to recap what we've got, is we've got Saw, Cabin in the Woods, The Ring, Evil Dead, Final Destination, It, Dawn of the Dead, and Drag Me to Hell, and Don't Breathe for left to put in the top 9.
This one's actually real easy for me.
Yeah,
But-
yeah, this one's easier for me.
But Brian, are you going to stay on the Ring train?
We'll stay on The Ring for now.
Russell,
Hater. I'm going Dawn of the Dead.
Hunter,
Drag Me to Hell.
Robert,
Don't Breathe.
Marathon, guys.
yeah, because I got Cabin in the Woods. So chat out of The Ring, Dawn of the Dead, Cabin in the Woods, Don't Breathe, and Drag Me to Hell. What do you think should be at number 9? And I'll give it a little bit. So we've now got 2 votes for both Cabin in the Woods and Dawn of the Dead.
I'll change my vote to Dawn of the Dead. I don't mind about that.
Yeah, that does help. Yeah.
So Dawn of the Dead's 9.
Dawn of the
Yeah.
Dead is 9.
All right, cool.
And I don't know why erased my board, but never mind. Right. So, Russell, what do you want for 8?
Cabin in the Woods.
Hunter,
Now
what
who's
do you
going
want?
after all of my picks?
What do you want for 8?
Drag Me to Hell.
Robert, what do you want for 8?
I'll stick with Don't Breathe.
I'm sticking with Cabin in the Woods. Brian, what do you have for 8?
Stuck with The Ring. Sad to see Kevin go.
Okay, so
Cabin in the Woods at 8.
Cabin in the Woods. Yes.
Good. See what we got here. Scary movie. Yeah, got this one.
I think this is a good place for this.
4 of my top 5 movies are now already gone.
Yeah, but it follows lower than Sweeney Todd. I'm gonna throw that out.
Yeah.
Where it should be. Yeah.
Didn't need to happen.
Sweeney Todd's in musicals, not a whole movie.
It's still a horror movie, just told through music.
I know.
But anyway, Hunter, what do you have for 7?
Drag Me to Hell.
Well,
Robert,
yes,
what do you have for 7?
Don't Breathe?
I've got Evil Dead. Brian, what do you have for 7?
He don't have the
Stick
ring.
with The Ring.
Russell, do you have one of those 4?
Guess what? My ring's staying on. Don't breathe.
Okay. Okay.
I don't know. Should be. Is there anything there?
I have no idea why I'm erasing my board, but never mind. But anyway, just to recap what we've got left, we've got Saw, The Ring, Evil Dead, Final Destination, It, and Drag Me to Hell. Yeah, left on there. Brian, what do you have for 6?
The same. Keep going The Ring.
Russell, what do you have for 6?
I'm gonna go Evil Dead.
Hunter, what do you have for 6?
Didn't change. Drag Me to Hell.
Robert, what do you have for 6?
I'm going to go with The Ring.
And I went with Evil Dead.
Okay, so
The Ring or Evil Dead, Hunter?
Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Are you
what a
thinking
night.
or we not hear you?
What a night, guys. What a night. Oh, man.
Hunter? You're the tiebreaker. You're the
Yeah.
tiebreaker. Ring or Evil Dead?
Yeah, I said
Hunter went with Evil Dead.
Oh, I didn't hear him. Must cut out of my end. Sorry.
Yeah, it's all right. I'm going to start off, and I've actually got The Ring. Robert, what do you want for 5?
The Ring.
You guys suck.
Hunter, what do you have for 5?
who?
Hunter.
Drag Me to Hell. God damn it.
Russell, what do you have for 5?
Kind of knowing where he was going to go, Drag Me to Hell.
Yes.
Brian, you've still got The Ring?
Yeah, it's about 6 or 7 places too high, but finally get The Ring on there.
Whatever. It beats Sweeney Todd.
Yeah.
I mean, like as we said at the start of this, like the 2000s to now, like it's been a mixed bag of
Our list is-
of medium to decent movies. There haven't been sort of a lot of
Our list is so our list is so diverse.
Yeah. which I'm actually happy about that.
All right. Top 4, boys. Almost done.
It's all right. It's not the longest episode that we've had, but
We're not done yet. Who knows?
We're gonna have 5 votes. Yeah.
Brian, what do you have for 4?
Start working on Saw.
Russell, what do you have for 4?
We're gonna keep Saw. We're gonna go Drag Me to Hell.
Hunter, what do you have for 4?
You have to ask. Drag Me to Hell.
Robert, what do you have for 4?
Drag Me to Hell.
Nice.
And yeah, we are dragging Drag Me to Hell to hell.
Thank you.
All right.
I'm just gonna leave this here for now.
Okay, so we have Final Destination,
Saw.
number 8.
Saw.
Or it.
Okay.
I guess. I don't know. Fuck.
But anyway, we know what Brian's going with. Russell, what do you have for 3?
Let's go ahead and knock off It.
Hunter, what do you have for 3?
Saw.
Robert, what do you have for 3?
Final Destination.
And I, as much as I like it, I do think it's too new. I put it.
Yep.
So Robert, It or Saw for 3?
For 3, It or
Yeah.
Saw?
Yeah.
Ugh.
Too new to be up there, man.
Not at all.
Saw
I
is
mean-
not that good.
I mean, Saw's not a number 1 movie, and neither is Final Destination. I don't. Ugh, this is bad.
I'll probably go with. Let's go with Saw.
So Saw is going to be number 3, and this time instead of voting for number 2, we're going to vote for what we think is the number 1 out of It or Final Destination.
I know what's
Two different movies, like way different movies, horror genre.
I can already know that Chad is gonna crucify this whole list.
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't care.
The Witch, dude. We're gonna get shouted out for The Witch.
I mean,
I voted
The
her
Witch
Hereditary, guys.
isn't even a good movie though.
Let
I would
me
have voted
know.
that
Hereditary, I voted.
I mean, we're already getting crucified for not for Hereditary, so
Yeah.
I mean, it happens every list. Like we get crucified for something that we left off.
Voting for one, correct?
Yeah, voting for number 1. So Brian, what do you think should be number 1?
You know, it was creative and kicked off the whole thing with 2000 Final Destination.
Russell, what do you have for number 1?
Oh God, man, it's too new. This movie's too new, and I'm putting it at 1. I can't believe it, but I gotta go It. I mean, for horror factor of it. I mean,
Hunter, what do you have for number 1?
I have it.
Yeah, if I even had to ask. Robert, what do you have for number 1?
Yeah, baby.
Happy Death Day. Just kidding. Joking.
Happy Death Day number 1.
I had Final Destination, but that doesn't mean anything because it is going to be number 1.
Woo!
Well, Robert wasn't voting for that. He's just playing with his toys.
I mean, theoretically, I could also bring in.
Yo.
Can he snap his fingers and make this list start over from the beginning?
Erase half the list.
I really want. Hey, Hunter, I want to know right now. How would you have voted on Shaun of the Dead? Yes or no?
Shaun of the Dead. Probably no, because it's more comedy than horror.
Thank you.
Okay, Trick or Treat.
Pretty much the same way. I saw more comedy than I did in horror in Trick or Treat.
Okay, and then the last one that went 2 and 2 was Grindhouse.
I just hate that movie.
Okay, so his votes wouldn't change any of those. just curious.
I think for the sake of the chat, though, we need to re-vote on Hereditary just so they're
Wasn't
at
it
least happy
all
with
no's except for one yes?
I
So even with
I
extra yes,
nominated,
it still
put
wouldn't
it
be.
on- I nominated. I still put it on Hereditary.
But see, like my choice, like I don't like Hereditary, but I still said yes because I understand what that movie meant, what it brought, and the significance of
Hereditary, and I probably would have given it a yes. Same with The Conjuring. If I knew The Conjuring wasn't set already, I would have
So
voted
what
on
do
my.
we do? Do we drop the bottom one and throw Hereditary on, or what?
No, too late. Too late. It wasn't here. I was just curious.
Out and put Hereditary in its place. There we go.
But anyway,
We
that
have- Our number 1 and 2s were so different.
is, but yeah, it happens a lot with these lists. Like sometimes, like when you get movies that are so different, you're going to get it. But to recap the list, at number 12, we had Happy Death Day. At number 11, we had It Follows. At 10, we've got Sweeney Todd. At 9, we've got Dawn of the Dead. At 8, we've got Cabin in the Woods. At 7, we've got Don't Breathe. At 6, we've got Evil Dead. At 5, we've got The Ring. At 4, we've got Drag Me to Hell. At 3, we've got Saw. At 2, we've got Final Destination. And at 1, we've got It. This
I'm
was
happy.
yeah. I mean, this is a fun list. Like, there's a lot of there's definitely a few out there people do think should have been on here than others. I did see a lot of people saying The Conjuring should be on here as well, but I mean, if that was said,
I think this list more than a lot of others depended on who was on your panel, because
Yeah.
there are such very different tastes in horror. There are people that love like the more the deeper stuff like Hereditary, and people that love more the gore and stuff like that. And then I liked a lot of foreign stuff that people hadn't seen. So I think it depended on who came on the panel is all.
Well, it's like if we were doing this panel talking about action movies, we would have all voted "Stop or My Mom Will Shoot" as number 1 easily. So
Yeah.
it's completely diverse as your panel.
yeah. But anyway, as always, I'm going to put a poll up in a
We're
bit.
going to find on Facebook too.
But yeah, I'm going to put up a poll with what you want the topic to be next week. It is going to be all WWE themed because we've got WrestleMania coming up. So it's one that I thought, well, why this is a perfect time to do a WWE themed episode. But let's find out where we can find everyone. Brian, where can people find you on the interwebs?
You know, I'm all over the usual places around here. I play in the trivia leagues in Full Metal and in Multiplex, and I'm doing debate and Battleground. I also help out with hosting and doing some writing over at Multiplex Movie Warzone. You can find me on Facebook under my name, Brian Michaels, Letterboxd under Cinemaphile. That's about it.
Russell, where can people find you online?
Yeah, you can find me House Hollywood Reviews. I need to get back into doing movie reviews, trailer reactions, all that fun stuff. You can also find me and my buddy Chance Ellison. We do a podcast called Notorious by Chance.
Great podcast.
Absolutely get on board. Join the Facebook group. We put polls up. Our latest episode has been just delayed a little bit because he is out of the country. He's coming back tomorrow, but we've already recorded the Bohemian Rhapsody edition of our podcast. I think the running time on it's like 4 hours. Because of the fact we had so many trailers to talk about, and we talked about this movie for like literally an hour and a half. But yeah, join the group, man. We're having a fun time with that. So subscribe to that Facebook group and find us on iTunes, anywhere you can get your podcast. So yeah.
That's why I can imagine Chance talking for 4 hours about how bad Bohemian Rhapsody is. Hunter, where can people find you online?
You guys can find me over at Film Nerd TV, where I do trailer reactions, movie reviews, and of course, Shimano reactions. And also my other channel, Combat Wrestling Network, which I host Combat Wrestling Trivia. If you are a pro wrestling fan, then join the Facebook group and we'll get you a match as soon as possible.
And Robert, where can people find you online?
So we got 2 YouTube channels. There is my personal vlog channel, which is Robert Adams MLP. I am currently working on my South by Southwest vlog. That's my vlogging channel. There's also the movie channel Cinefanatics with both me and my brother. You can look up Cinefanatics. We also do the trailer reactions, movie reviews, Schmodown reactions. We are currently working on the meetup for the Houston live Schmodown, so you can check that out. You can find us all across like Facebook and the Patreon Discord and whatnot. So yeah.
And you can find me on Tape 3 Productions hosting this every Sunday night. And you can also find me over on Full Metal, where I host Full Metal Random. I don't know if there'll be a match this week. I was just sort of waiting on availability from some people whether one will actually happen, but we'll see what happens. I'm also helping write TV Throwdown Multiplex, and you can find me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Stardust at Malcor. And until next week, keep listing shit.